This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV.
It's Truthful Tuesday. No sugarcoating, no polite lies, just the kind of honesty that makes people nod slowly and rethink their life decisions. Let's talk about it.
A boss be rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel road to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it.
Hey y'all, welcome in. If you haven't been here in a while, you know Tuesdays are about telling the truth, plain and simple. Not the kind that's meant to shock, but the kind that actually explains things. I want to say real quick, if my voice sounds a little different today, I'm still sick. I'm trying. I've been out in the elements. That never helps. But I am still coming back from it, and I'm okay. Let's get that straight again. I'm okay. So not letting up all that much with our second spring from Texas, it's bipolar weather here, period. We don't get a fall. We get two very excruciating springs. And though it may be beautiful out there, it's also hell on your allergies. And that's where I am today, of course. So at least it's not Florida, okay? Because I've been there too. I'm sorry. My kids probably don't like that, but seriously. So I'm good. I'm talking. Trying to take it easy, I promise. This space, it's always been family for me from day one, I think. So I'm not going to pretend or power through just to prove something. I'd rather show up honestly and do it right. So today's show is built around one letter. That's how we're doing it now, because I think one letter is enough to sit with. And this letter doesn't ask for drama or hot takes, okay? I guess it asks for clarity. It asks about the kind of truth that's uncomfortable, the kind that forces change, and the kind that only makes sense once time has passed. So instead of rushing past it, we're going to sit with it. Let's start with the letter first.
I've been thinking a lot about how truth works in music, not the kind we argue about online, but the kind that only shows itself after years have passed. There's a band I've followed most of my life, and for a long time I believed the story the way it's usually told. Early grind, steady rise, inevitable success. But when you actually look closer, that version skips over the hardest part, the moment where things weren't working the way people wanted them to. What stood out to me isn't controversy or drama, it's honesty. At some point, this band had to face the reality that effort alone wasn't enough, and that wanting something badly doesn't guarantee it will take you where you need to go. The music was there, the work ethic was there, but the alignment wasn't. I'm talking about Iron Maiden. What I respect about their story isn't just the success that followed, but the willingness to acknowledge that the earlier version of the band, while important, wasn't the final one. That kind of truth is hard, especially when people are attached to how things began. Sometimes growth doesn't come from adding more effort. Sometimes it comes from admitting that something has reached its limit. And that doesn't erase the past, it explains it. I'd like to hear your take on that moment. Not as a debate about who was better or worse, but as an example of how truth in music often shows up quietly, asks for courage, and doesn't make sense until years later. Thanks.
Of course, that one cut off. I'm not sure why, but we're going to get into it anyway. So when we talk about the truth in music, and forgive me, I should say this first. I'm taking real world problems and using musicians as examples, okay? And the things that they went through. Because to me, it's like when you know something what somebody else is going through, and you know a way to help, or even just sitting and listening makes you think about things that have on for you, or maybe going on for you, and this situation could help bring some kind of light to your whole thing, to your whole issue, right? So real people is what we're getting at. People that other people know is what we're getting at. I think this is a better format because, guys, I mean, our heroes that we grew up with, right? Or the people we idolized. Like this person seems to be idolizing Iron Maiden, which, I'm a fan. I've had it up here. But the thing about it is this is human. And yet again, I'm going to point out, regardless of how money they make or how many people know them, they're still human too. Plain and simple. Still dry, pardon me. But when we do talk about truth in music, we usually talk about success, the album that worked, the tours that sold out, the moments that really proved someone made it. But the real truth usually lives there, or lives earlier than that, actually. Breathe. It lives in the version that almost worked. That's the version that had the talent and the drive and the momentum, just not the alignment. That's the part most stories skip. And that's true for everyone. It is. Because it's uncomfortable. And it forces us to admit that effort doesn't always equal outcome. And that wanting something badly doesn't guarantee it will last. In today's letter, the question wasn't about blame. It wasn't about comparison. It was about recognition, about acknowledging that sometimes the truth shows up quietly and long before success does. The truth doesn't arrive with applause, okay? It arrives with tension, frustration, as a feeling that something important is really missing, even when everything looks fine from the outside. Before a band becomes legendary, before the sound locks in, before the identity fully forms, there is always a period of uncertainty. And for Iron Maiden, that period mattered more than most people realize, because their story didn't turn on luck or timing alone. It turned on truth and on the willingness to face it before it was obvious to everyone else. To understand what came next, we have to start with who they were before they became who the world remembers. This is where the story actually begins. Okay? Let me get this. All right. So before they became a global standard, I guess is the good word, for heavy metal, Iron Maiden existed in a far more uncertain space. The early years were defined by hunger and momentum and relentless effort, but also by limitations that would only become clear in hindsight. Like many bands at the beginning of their journey, they were working constantly, writing aggressively, and carving out an identity in a crowded scene that rewarded intensity but punished stagnation. Kind of like YouTube, right? Seriously. So at the center of this early phase was a version of Iron Maiden that felt raw, street level, and dangerous. The music had grit. The energy, it was undeniable. And the band earned credibility through relentless giggling and willingness to push forward forward no matter the obstacles. Sorry, trying to think and be sick at the same time. So from the outside, it looked like progress, right? From the inside, it really felt unfinished. So fronted by, I hope I don't say this name wrong, by Paul Diano. The band captured a sound that resonated with a specific moment in time. There was attitude, urgency, and a sense of rebellion that fit perfectly within the underground metal scene of the era. Those early records mattered. They built a foundation. They proved the band could survive. But survival and evolution are not the same thing. Iron Maiden's ambitions grew. So did the gap between what they were capable of imagining and what they were able to execute consistently. The music itself began demanding more range, more control, more discipline. If you ask me, that messes it all up, the discipline part. But it needed more endurance as well. Touring schedules intensified. Audiences, they expanded. Expectations obviously were going to rise. So what once felt like chemistry started to feel like strain. This is the part of the story where, well, it often gets softened out of respect for, I guess, beginnings. Go figure. I'm not so sure about that, but we'll just settle with it, right? So, the truth is, the band, it wasn't failing, okay? They were outgrowing the version of themselves that got them started. And that kind of realization doesn't come with drama at first. It comes with quiet frustration, with moments where things almost land but don't, with performances that are powerful but uneven, and with a growing sense that, you know what, effort alone isn't closing the gap. It's not. No. What makes this period important is that nothing was obviously wrong. The band was still working. Fans were still showing up. Records were still being made. That's why the truth was so difficult to face. When something is clearly broken, change feels justified. You know what? Then when something is almost working, change feels like betrayal. Plain and simple. For Iron Maiden, this was the crossroad. Finally, they could continue forward out of loyalty to what had already been built, or they could acknowledge that the path ahead required something different. That acknowledgement, it doesn't erase the value of the early years. It doesn't. It explains them. Like I was talking about yesterday, integrating. There's a reason that happened. Everything happens for a reason. And it did happen for a reason. The early lineup gave Iron Maiden identity, toughness, and credibility. But identity alone doesn't sustain longevity. As the band's vision expanded, it became clear that the existing structure could not support where they wanted to go. This wasn't about dismissing the past. It was about recognizing its limits. Many bands never make it past that stage. They confuse persistence with progress and end up circling the same ground until momentum fades. Iron Maiden stood at the same edge, faced with a truth that didn't announce itself, at least not loudly, but it pressed in from every direction. Left, right, up, down, all the ways. This segment of their story reminds us that truth in music often arrives before success does. And I think that's true for more than just music. I think that's true for everyday life. But it does show up. And sometimes it shows up as tension and discomfort, as the sense that something important hasn't locked into place yet, even though all the pieces seem present. before Iron Maiden became legendary, they were simply honest. Eventually, to admit that the version of the band they started, it was not the version that would carry them forward. And that honesty would soon demand a decision that really changed everything. Absolutely everything. So, sorry. Trying to get my stuff to work again. Yeah. Okay. So, back to that, if I can. Pardon me, guys. I'm airheaded today. It's all me. But listen, once truth was acted on, the real test, it began then. Decisions may change direction, but discipline determines whether that direction holds after the lineup shift. Iron Maiden entered a phase that demanded far more than confidence and momentum. The band now had to prove that honesty wasn't just a concept. It was a commitment. The music itself became the measuring stick, longer compositions, tighter arrangements, and greater technical demands. They required everyone to rise together. There was no room for coasting. Every performance, every rehearsal, every single recording session reinforced the reality that alignment had to be maintained daily, not just declared once. This is the phase that rarely gets celebrated because it lacks drama. Absolutely drama. There are no explosive confrontations, no tabloid moments to freeze in time. Instead, there's repetition, preparation, consistency, the unglamorous grind, showing up prepared, staying sharp when novelty wears off. Truth. When taken seriously, it absolutely creates standards. Those standards then exposed weaknesses quickly. Mistakes aren't hidden as easily. Shortcuts become obvious. The band's survival now depends on everyone respecting the same expectations. Night after night, tour after tour, what followed was a noticeable shift in presence. Performances tightened. Identity clarified. The band didn't just sound more powerful. They sounded intentional. This wasn't accidental. It was the result of structure replacing uncertainty and discipline replacing guesswork. We need to think about that in our own lives, right? Don't have to be a rock star to have problems. But a rock star here can show you how they fix theirs. So importantly, this period also tested whether the truth that sparked change. Sorry. Forgive me, my computer's trying to mess me up here. Doo-dee-doo-doo-doo. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it to stop doing something. Oh my goodness. Please forgive me. I mean, I know there's only 2 in here right now, but please forgive me. All right, well, I'm just going to start over right here because I lost my place. I'm so sorry. Look, success It returned quickly, but success can be deceptive. It tempts people to relax, to assume the work is finished. Iron Maiden didn't make that mistake. They treated momentum as something to protect, not proof that the effort was no longer required. You know, over time, the results, they spoke clearly. Oh, pardon me, albums connected. Happy Tuesday, plus sister. How are you, honey? Oh, y'all forgive me. I may have to shut this down. My throat's trying to be crazy. Not yet. I'm gonna get through this. Don't mind me. Okay, the band's reputation, is shifted. From promising to formidable. Not because the truth was dramatic, but because it was consistently honored. I'm doing really good, honey. Hello, Wynette. I think I said that. I'm not. Oh, Wynetta. Thank you. Is that you? Sorry. I can't see. I can't talk. Y'all, look at my eyes. They're all swollen. It's just that time of year in Texas. Okay. But the gap that once existed between ambition and execution began to close. This segment of the story underscores something essential. Okay. Truth doesn't simplify life. It complicates it in productive ways. It raises expectations, and it removes excuses, and it demands accountability long after the applause fades. Many artists reach to the truth and turn back because they underestimate what it requires. Iron Maiden didn't do that. They accepted the honesty that comes with responsibility and growth. It's sustained through discipline, okay, not declarations. By the end of this phase, the band had done more than survive a difficult decision. They had built a framework capable of supporting longevity. The truth they faced earlier no longer hovered as doubt. It had become the foundation they stood on. And once discipline takes root, legacy stops being a hope and starts becoming a possibility. All right, you guys, before I lose my voice, I'm going to go grab me a drink, take a little break. Y'all enjoy this really incredible song that this really cool cat made for herself.
She came from the quiet storms, built a fire from the ground, turned a whisper to a warning. Now her voice shakes the town. Every setback was a lesson, every doubt became a key, unlocking something bigger. That's the rise of Boss B. When the lights go low, her vision hits high. She built a whole damn network off a promise and a try. Every sunrise, every moment, she's stacking legacy. This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV. Boss B rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dreams, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss B rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's the queen of the comeback, the storm in the stream, crafting stories out of heartbeats, making visions out of dreams. Got thunder in the hustle, got a voice that cuts clean. Every mic she touches turns the power unseen. So let brothers spin the numbers, let the views rise slow or fast. Boss B doesn't measure wins by echoes of the past. This moment is a pivot, this season's history. Bow down to the founder of the BBTV dynasty. Boss B rising, BBTV keeps watching as the numbers climb, but she's counting all the moments, not the dollar signs. From the late night grind to the daylight scene, she's building something bigger than the algorithm's dream. Boss be rising, BBTV shining, her story's rewriting, a legacy in real time. Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dreams, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling when she hits go live, everybody feels it. BBTV, where the stories breathe. BBTV, where the dreamers believe. Boss be rising, watch her take her place. This is BBTV, this is her grace.
Join Boss B for Ask a Bee Monday through Friday, 12 noon Central Standard Time and Jukebox Journey every Saturday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Alrighty. So, truth doesn't announce itself as legacy when it happens. It earns that title over time. For Iron Maiden, the decision to face reality and act on it didn't just alter their immediate future. It reshaped how longevity in heavy metal could look. What followed wasn't just commercial success or critical validation. It was stability. The kind of stability that allows a band to grow without constantly reinventing itself out of panic. So Iron Maiden didn't need to chase trends because they had already aligned their identity with their ambition. That alignment, it became their anchor. As years turned into decades, the impact of that truth became clear. The band's catalog wasn't a collection of disconnected eras. It was a through line. Even as styles shifted and generations changed, the foundation held. Fans, they didn't just show up for nostalgia. They showed up for consistency, knowing what Iron Maiden stood for and what they could expect. This is where the truth separates legacy acts from, footnotes. Bands that avoid hard decisions often survive briefly, fueled by early momentum. Bands that confront reality even when it costs them build something that outlives the moment. Iron Maiden's willingness to acknowledge their limits early allowed them to expand without losing any kind of coherence later. And the influence of that choice, it extends beyond their own career. Countless artists point to Iron Maiden, not just as inspiration, but as proof that honesty doesn't weaken art, it strengthens it. And let's face it, guys, our everyday life, all the mundane things that we do every single day. I mean, come on, think about it. That's our growth. That's it. I'm searching for the word now. Sorry. That's so ADHD today. Art. Okay, art. Life is art. It's all about what kind of brush you're holding. It's all about what kind of medium you're using in any respect, okay? The fact that you need to paint it a little differently doesn't mean you're weak or it was weak to begin with. It simply means that it needs an update, or it just needs It needs you to put your hands on it again. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but doesn't, we're not going to weaken art. We strengthen it. And by this is how I feel about a lot of things. By comparing what just happened to the past, or what's happening now to the past, it's kind of silly to think it's weak, because without all these things that happen, you wouldn't be where you're at. Neither would Iron Maiden. You got to keep it in mind. So, their story demonstrates that growth, and it doesn't require abandoning your roots, only understanding them clearly enough to move forward. So what's especially important is that the band never pretended the truth was painless. They didn't rewrite history to make the transition look effortless. Okay? The early years are still part of the story. They're respected, acknowledged, and understood as necessary steps rather than mistakes to be erased. That perspective is rare. Many artists either cling too tightly to their beginnings, or they would just reject them outright. Iron Maiden chose a third path: integration. They allowed the past to inform the present without controlling it. That balance is what makes their legacy durable rather than fragile. And come to think about it, ours too. The balance. And they found it. And that's all we have to do is find ours. That's not so rough, right? Truthful Tuesday exists for stories like this. Not because they're dramatic, but because they're instructive. I'm not a professional anything, I'll tell you that. But I know that much. Iron Maiden's journey shows that truth is music. And music isn't about calling something wrong. It's about recognizing when something has reached its limit and having the courage to evolve it beyond. Decades later, the result is unmistakable. The band stands as an example of how clarity can extend relevance and how discipline can protect creativity. And how honesty can build something that lasts for longer than hype ever could. Iron Maiden didn't become who they are by accident. They became who they are by listening when the truth spoke. This world would be a lot better place if people would do that, right? And by continuing to honor it long after the decision was made, that's what turns a moment into a legacy, y'all. Oh, y'all, please forgive me. I am so hoarse right now. Okay, so I have a little something I need to do here, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to shut this one down a little bit early, but I got a few more things for you first, okay? Please forgive me. I'm just not feeling up to it. And it's not that I'm really sick, it's just allergies, really. So let me grab this, because this is just, something's happened for me in the past couple of days that just truly, I don't know. It makes me think, life ain't so bad. Truthfully. I'm fixing to drop you a link because I want to talk about this real quick. Right here. So before I wrap this up, I want to take a minute, okay, to acknowledge someone who's been showing up in a way that actually matters. I want to give a genuine shout out to Tuber Chat. This isn't sponsored. This isn't transactional. This is me noticing consistency. Tuber Chat has been sitting on one of my lives for a few days for me. And I've never had that level of support. And let me tell you, that just means I have to give double back because it was such a surprise. And this is probably only the second real good surprise I've ever gotten on YouTube. Okay. The first one was when I saw that I was mentioned in Big Jack's video. And then this. It's amazing to me that there are really people out there that do care. And here's the thing. He hasn't been just popping in for attention or passing through or anything. He sat there. He watched this stuff. So commenting, supporting, and that tracks because that's what their entire channel is built around, okay? Their focus is simple and solid. Supporting small YouTubers, not selling shortcuts, no chasing hype, just creating a place where creators can connect, learn, grow without being talked down to. They run a consistent show. Lives, I believe it is 3 times a week. I'm not sure. I think that's what I read. They've built a real community. It's an amazing community. And they do the unglamorous part of this work, showing up for other people over and over and over again. Y'all, that matters to me. Absolutely. And it should matter to you too. So if you're a creator who believes growth comes from community, not competition, if you're trying to build something steady instead of fast, or if you just want to be in rooms where creators actually help creators, go check out Tuber Chat, please. Spend time there. Support the people who support others. Okay. I'm going to say this from having a year's worth of this mess under my belt, okay? Those numbers they have are so great. But Tuber Chat deserves way better, and I want y'all to get up off your tufts, get over to the computer, grab your phone, I don't care, get over there. All of you have been helped. So all you have been helped, even in just by a simple mention of your channel over there on Tuber Chat. You better understand the time it takes behind that and go and make sure that time is repaid. It takes a lot to do what he does, and I am so impressed. You have to go watch. Time is priceless, and any time that Tuber Chat gives you is priceless too. Pay it forward, pay it backwards. Hell, side to side, y'all, but pay for it. Pay it. For those of you who I don't know Tuber Chat, I suggest you get educated, and here is the link in the chat. Do it. Whether you're a part of the Honeybee Tribe or the Iron Sharpening Iron universe, you should be a part of this community as well. Nothing but good people, real people just like you and me. So get your tail on over there. I mean it. Don't make me get my boots on. All right. That needed to be said, and with conviction. Done deal. So get there. All righty. I'm going to pull up the last little bit. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do this. I am going to have to shut down a little bit early. But first, a few more things. 2 more, okay? Already done our break. Don't press that one. BB wants to talk to y'all for a second. Be right.
If you're enjoying this show, subscribing is the easiest way to support what's being built here on BBTV. You'll see the join button right next to subscribe. No pressure, no expectations, just an option for people who want to support the channel in a real way. We're live weekdays at 12 p.m. Central, and each day has its own focus. Same honesty, same voice, just different conversations depending on the day. And if you've got a story you want to share, send it in. Anonymous is always fine.
All right, let's bring this back to where it started. Today wasn't about ranking eras or even arguing performances. It was about truth, the kind that, it doesn't show up as drama, but as a decision that quietly changes everything. When you look at a story like Iron Maiden, it's easy to focus on the success that followed. But what actually matters is the honesty that came first. They didn't grow by pretending the early version didn't matter. They grew by recognizing its limits. That's a hard thing to do in music, in work, in life, because sometimes the truth isn't about effort or passion. Sometimes it's about alignment, and alignment asks for courage. This level matters because it wasn't asking for who was right or wrong. It was asking what happens when the truth finally gets acknowledged and what becomes possible after that. That's what I want this space to be, a place where we can talk about growth without erasing the past and honesty without turning into a fight. Thank y'all for giving me the grace to show up a little differently today while I get my voice all the way back. Thank you for staying for the full story, not just the loud parts. And please forgive me for being a little short today. Different lens, same honesty. We will be back here tomorrow at noon, 12 Central. Same love for the music that shapes us too. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to go do the same. Love y'all. Bye-bye.